Good morning, how are we all doing? Different background from normal, not one you will have seen before. I'm in Will's bedroom. Just me and Quentin Tarantino the monkey hanging out here. Don't know why he's called Quentin Tarantino, but apparently he is. So, anyway, I've got my coffee. I've got it in a cat mug. All ready for this week's Friday chat, and I thought I would answer some of the questions you asked in, or all the questions hopefully that you asked in last week's Friday chat video. First of all, I probably ought to tell you I'm in Will's bedroom. I think I mentioned last week that we had problems with our central heating. Unfortunately, those problems are still ongoing. I still have no central heating. And as time has gone on, there is quite a strong possibility that my lovely new floor in my lovely new entrance hall is going to have to be dug up. So I'm saying that in a laughing way, not really laughing on the inside, slightly pissed off on the inside, but keep your fingers crossed that doesn't have to happen, because that would ruin my week, if not my entire year. But never mind, these things are sent to try us, and at the moment it is still not too cold, so we're managing without any central heating. So I've screenshot all of the questions, or hopefully all of the questions, and I thought I'd answer them while I have some coffee. And also, I didn't exactly tell you why I was in Will's bedroom. I am in Will's bedroom because we have a new plumber here today, actually an old plumber, but a different plumber, who is, when I say older plumber, that we've been using for a long time, rather than old in age. And he's running around the house testing all the radiators and in and out of everywhere, and this is the only room where he's not testing the radiators, because we have a skirting radiator in here that hasn't worked properly for ages. Just imagine the gossip sites now going, oh my god, that evil woman puts her son in a bedroom with no heating. Hilarious, that's just really amused me. Okay, anyway, let's have a look at some of the questions. So Lynn Finney asked me, what rooms are next for your renovation? Well, this one is still not completely finished. We've still got the snagging to go, and quite big snagging if the central heating issues are not resolved without digging up the floor. But once this one is done, the next one I think is going to be my ensuite bedroom. We have almost all the stuff for that already in the garage, so that will probably be next. And then the kitchen at some point after that. When it will be, I have absolutely no idea. To be honest, we need to save up again before we start embarking on the next projects, the next major projects anyway, because everything's very expensive, isn't it, these days? So that's where we're at with that. It will probably be the bathroom next. Lynn also asked me, do you ever see your royal cousin? For anybody who doesn't know, my cousin Sophie, who is technically, I think, my second cousin once removed. Sophie's mother and my mother were first cousins. I say were first cousins because Sophie's mother died a few years ago. And Sophie is the Countess of Wessex. She is married to Prince Edward, I was going to say the Queen's son, but I guess now we say the King's brother. Lynn also says, please do more weekly and daily vlogs. I'm trying not to do the weekly vlogs at the moment because there's going to be a lot of vlogging in December when it's Vlogmas, and I like to come to that with a fresh head. So I'm trying to ease back on the weekly vlogs, but there's lots of I'll do some day in the life stuff, you know, and that sort of thing. But yeah, weekly vlogs probably back after Christmas, I think. Lynn also asks, third question, and there's another one from her later in a different comment, I think. Lynn also says, I'm so nosy, but I was wondering, do you ever see your royal cousin? For anybody who doesn't know, Sophie, the Countess of Wessex, who is married to Prince Edward, the King's brother, is my second, I don't know if she's my second cousin or second cousin once removed. I think it's second cousin. Sophie's mum and my mum were first cousins. And I say were because Sophie's mum died several years ago. I don't see Sophie. I haven't seen her since we were children, to be honest, or since we were teenagers, I think, probably. We didn't live close as kids. We all lived quite a long way away from each other. And we saw each other at family get-togethers and that sort of thing. But no, I haven't seen her for a long time, or indeed her brother David. My mum has seen Sophie's dad within the last few years. She still keeps in touch with him. And my mum and dad went to the royal wedding as well, which was lovely. They very much enjoyed the opportunity to do that. The next question is from UK Girl, and she says, if you could be on TV, would you? And if yes, would you host a chat show, game show, be in a musical, murder, mystery, romance, and what role would you want? Great question, that. I have actually been on TV a couple of times. I was in, first thing I did was a program, I can't remember what was it called, Right on the Money or something? And they were doing a segment on reselling as a job, buying things and reselling them, and myself and Nick Hills and Ken Chapman, two reselling friends, went and to a car boot sale and were filmed and bought things and then sold them. They came to the house and filmed me as well for a little segment in that, and that was quite fun. Enjoyed that. It was also the first time I've met Nick, and the only time it wasn't the only time I've met Ken, it was the first time I met Nick and the first time I met Ken, so that was lovely as well, because we've been sort of internet friends before that, so that was sort of almost more exciting than the TV thing. But yeah, that was quite fun. And then I was contacted through doing YouTube to do, what was it called? Customer is Always Right. And myself and William, my son, did 2 series of that. We took part on sort of a consumer panel testing new products type of thing, and we filmed ourselves at home. Cheap way of making TV for the TV company, for sure. Yeah, we filmed ourselves and sent the footage, and then they edited it into the programs. I think they're still available on iPlayer, or they were a while ago, and some of them are on YouTube as well. It's called The Customer is Always Right. It's on the BBC. So that was quite good as well. We had already decided, Will and I, that if they did a 3rd series, we wouldn't take part in it. We felt that what they paid us was not really commensurate with the amount of work and stuff it took to do it. It was quite intensive work on quite strict timelines, and of course I was editing and uploading the footage myself. Not editing it so much, but filming it, and then worrying about the light and the angles and all of that sort of thing myself, and they didn't pay us brilliant money at all, so we felt that we wouldn't have taken part in a 3rd series had they had the opportunity come up. They never made a 3rd series, I don't think, so that was that. But it was a great experience. I'm really glad that I did it. And Will was as well. He was a student at the time, so what little money we did earn was quite a nice boost to his student loans, so that was good as well. And it was nice to do something together as well. I enjoyed that aspect of it. If I could be on TV, would I? I probably wouldn't, to be honest. I very much enjoyed, I was asked to audition for quite a well-known TV series a little while ago. I'm not going to say the name, and I turned it down. I didn't want to do it. I feel like I don't want to be any more famous than I already am. I'm quite happy with the level of exposure that YouTube gives me, and I'm not sure that I want much more negative backlash. And certainly going into a well-known TV program that is watched by a lot of people is not something that would be of interest to me. And I certainly wouldn't want to be in a musical. If you heard my singing, you would I definitely wouldn't want to be in a musical. Nobody would want me to be in a musical, that's for damn sure. Anyway, Tanya Falzon asked me about, a couple of people asked me about this actually. I think I showed microblading, no, not microblading, that's eyebrows, face shaving razors that I buy for shaving my face. People asked me about that, and could I do a demonstration of it, and I will at some point do a demonstration on it. Somebody asked me, not in these questions but previously, whether it makes you face, it's the peach fuzz on your face, whether it grows back really stubbly. No, it definitely doesn't. It just grows back the same as it is to start with. You don't end up with a full-on beard if you start shaving your face. The reason I do it is just purely because I feel like it makes my makeup sit more nicely on my skin, and also once you've gone through the menopause, I feel like you get a bit more of that hairiness, and I don't particularly like it. So just purely vanity on my part, purely vanity. This isn't a question, but this is a really interesting comment that I thought was worth reading out. When I was talking about politics and the state of the nation and the state of the world and all that sort of thing last week, it obviously resonated with a lot of you. I had a lot of feedback on that, and people saying what frightening times we're living in, and just generally agreeing with what I was saying, type of thing. But this is from Cy and Liz Brown, and they said, I don't know if it's Cy or Liz, so I will say they. My sister pointed out that situations are cyclical. We are in the early part of the 21st century, and if you think about it, there are many similarities to the start of the 20th century. We've had COVID, they had Spanish flu. There is war and unrest in Europe. We have inflation and hardship, which has echoes of how things were following the Wall Street crash and depression. We have industrial unrest that echoes events leading to the general strike. A very interesting observation, I thought. Maybe the next thing will be a time when we've never had it so good, as they said. Let's hope that is the case. But yeah, I thought that was a really interesting point, and I think that certainly in politics things are cyclical, aren't they? You get so long of one party being in power and then switch to another, and although politics feels very unstable at the moment, but politics I definitely feel is cyclical, or the leadership of the country. I don't know if that's the same in other countries, but yeah, I think perhaps the events of the early 21st century are echoing those of the... It's an interesting observation, and quite an accurate one if you think about it. Anyway, Dolly Daydream asks me, my question is, have you ever had dancing lessons, and would you ever consider going to any dance class? If so, what type interests you? Now, I had ballet lessons as a small child. I don't know exactly what age, but definitely quite a small child. I was not gifted in that department. Didn't particularly enjoy it. Clearly I definitely won't be in a musical. Not only can I not sing, I can't dance either. So, you know, perhaps I could be in the orchestra, although I can't play an instrument other than the recorder. So yeah, I don't think the orchestra would want me either. The only sort of dancing that I have a vague interest in perhaps doing would be line dancing. And that's mostly because I quite like the cowboy boots and the tears. I quite like the outfit that you wear for that. Can't see myself in a skin-tight dress doing the salsa or anything. But yeah, a line dancing cowboy boots ensemble, I can see myself in that. So yeah, maybe not with the dancing. Now this is an interesting question from Joan. She says, Carla Jenkins for Prime Minister, only she's not interested in taking the job. But if she did and you had to take a job in Carla's cabinet, which post would you choose? What about Ashley? Would he take a housing or treasury post, or is that too obvious? I'd quite like to be Transport Minister. Is it that hard to sort out public transport? Well, it would be quite strange if I was a cabinet minister in Carla's government, because our politics are night and day. And news alert, we can still be friends, even though we have different political views, we still like each other's company. And also have quite interesting political debates without falling out with each other. Honestly, the entirety of Twitter could learn from us, couldn't it? That aside, if Carla was Prime Minister, and I think she'd be better than the one we've got currently, not a high bar, I admit, I think, now, is it a question of what you'd enjoy or what you'd be good at? I quite like to be Foreign Secretary, because that involves quite a lot of foreign travel. I expect you get to go on a private plane, or perhaps not these days, I don't know. But that sounds quite nice, although probably the downside of that is having to meet lots of foreign dignitaries and you know, you'd be bigging up the UK, wouldn't you, in foreign parts, and that would be quite a nice thing to do, wouldn't it? Quite a positive, upbeat sort of thing. But I imagine it's not all sort of glad-handing, and yeah, for the more I think about it, the more I think that wouldn't be my favourite. I think I'd be a pretty good Chancellor of the Exchequer, because I am pretty good with money. I've always been quite good with money, quite good at managing my finances, and yeah, I think I could probably do not a bad job of that. I mean, obviously it's slightly different, isn't it? But as for Ashley, he would want Carla's job. He's not very good at working for anyone at all, so he'd want the top job, so he'd be fighting Carla for the top job, I reckon. Elizabeth Conroy asked me, question, please recommend the best department store in London for women's wear, as I'm staying for 2 weeks at Christmas. I have not been to London since before COVID. I think that shopping in London is probably very different from last time I was there, so I am not the best person to ask about that. I always love a visit to Selfridges, although they have very expensive clothes and none of them would fit me, but it's always good as a destination to go and have a wander around rather than actually buy things. Marks and Spencer's in Oxford Street, maybe. I don't know. I'm honestly a bit clueless about London. So if anybody has any answers for Elizabeth on that question that I've completely failed to answer, please do leave them in the comments. I think, have I got to the end? Oh, a couple of people asked me about, no, I haven't got to the end. This is going to be a long one, isn't it? Madeline Davis says, just wondering about your health now, food and limiting calories. No changes. That's really why I haven't updated you on, given an update on that issue. There are no changes. I have battled with my weight for at least 20 years, probably longer, and I continue to do so. And that's the update on that, I'm afraid. That's all I've got for you on that. If weight loss was something that was easy, we'd all be in the correct BMI and not overweight, wouldn't we? It's something that I battle. I will probably battle it for the rest of my life, I don't doubt. I do exercise quite regularly. I'm still walking on the treadmill about 4 times a week, which I quite enjoy. I would do that first thing in the morning. I'm currently doing a little 30-day challenge to myself not to eat any crisps. I got a bit obsessed with crisps. I love a salty snack, May. So I've banned myself from eating any salty snacks in packets or out of packets for the entirety of October, and that is going well. But yeah, other than that, I battle my weight on a daily basis. Right, let's finish off now. Let's do one more question. Jode XX asked me, what are your 3 favourite bands, singers, 3 favourite films and 3 favourite books? Favourite books is a really, really hard one to answer. It's like picking my favourite child. One of my favourite books is Rachel's Holiday by Marion Keyes, which I have reread on numerous occasions throughout the years. I absolutely love it, and she brought out a sequel to it whose name I can't remember earlier this year, and I very much enjoyed that as well. Not as much as the original, but I did enjoy it. 3 favourite films. Oh, what's the one with Morgan Freeman in it, and they're in the prison, and the guy's called Andy Dufresne. That one, someone put it in the... Why can't I think of the bloody name of that film? What's it called? Based on a Stephen King short story. Absolutely brilliant film. So brilliant I can't remember its name. That one, Dirty Dancing, because it's a feel-good film from my youth and I still love watching it and it makes me smile. And Top Gun. And yes, I have watched Maverick and I absolutely loved it. And did I love it as much as the original? The original is so ingrained in me, you know, so ingrained in me from watching it and watching it and watching it over the years. But I did enjoy Maverick. I thought it was as good as a sequel could be to the original. Yeah, I did. I really enjoyed it. I need to watch it again, really. Is it available yet? Must go and check that. Anyway, that's it. I'm going to finish this off here. My coffee's probably gone cold. I've been chatting for so long. Just about lukewarm still. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. It felt very rambly. I'll see you in the next one. Bye bye.